the North Korean PC with a dash of Czechoslovak Vz. 52. The Type 73 machine gun. Friends, get ready for a deep, almost detective-like dive into the history of one of the world's most mysterious and controversial machine guns. Before we begin, do me a favor. Subscribe to the channel and don't turn off notifications, because you haven't seen breakdowns like this before. And at the end, I'm waiting for your heated comments, personal stories, and opinions. This is important. Let's go. Imagine a dirty, dusty trench somewhere in the Donbass. The year is 2024. The air hums with artillery, and somewhere very close over a rise, a machine gun rattles. But its sound is not the familiar staccato crackle of a Pecheneg or an Udios, nor the dry clatter of an M240. It's something in between, with a metallic clang, as if something inside the mechanism is about to fall apart. A soldier in body armor, who pulled this marvel from a crate marked in an unfamiliar language, shrugs. North Korean, he tells his comrade. They say it's crap, but we're low on ammo for our PKM, and this thing eats the same stuff. He lays the heavy, angular assembly on the parapet. This is the Type 73, a ghost machine gun, a sphinx of a weapon, a device born in the most closed country in the world from Soviet brains, Czechoslovak hands, and Korean stubbornness. Why is it here? How did it get to this war? And what story is hidden behind its crude welded seams? This is not just a story about a weapon. This is a story of the Cold War, brilliant engineering solutions, fatal miscalculations, and how the ghosts of yesterday's conflicts walk into today's battles. Stay with me. This is going to get intense. Part 2, Context, the DPRK in the vice of history and economics. To understand the Type 73, you have to forget about the mechanics for a minute and transport yourself to Korea in the 50s and 60s, a country literally burned to the ground by a war that never officially ended, only subsided. To the south, American troops and a formidable ally. To the north, reliance on two giants, the USSR and China. But here lies Pyongyang's first dilemma. China and the USSR are no longer eternal brothers. A crack is forming between them, about to become a chasm. And Kim Il-sung, the founding father of the nation, a genius of survival, proclaims the idea of juche, self-reliance. It sounds grand, but in practice it meant, we depend on you, but we really don't want to show it. The military industry is the backbone of such a state. But building it from scratch without its own engineering school, machine tools, material science is a titanic task. The DPRK's economy of those years is a planned system in its harshest form, focused on heavy industry and the military-industrial complex at the expense of everything else. Money, resources, the best minds went to create an army capable, by design, of unifying the peninsula with one blow. But copying blindly? That's not juche. They needed to take the best from two teachers, the USSR and China, which, in turn, often copied the USSR, and make it their own. Cheaper, simpler to produce, adapted to their own conditions. And here the mythology of the North Korean weapons genius is born, which most often shatters against the harsh reality of metal and powder gases. Part 3, Origin, the Soviet progenitor and the Czechoslovak donor. Our hero, the Type 73, was born in 1973, hence the index. Its official role is a general-purpose machine gun. This means that, with a changeable barrel and on a bipod, it should support infantry in the attack, and when mounted on a tripod, become the linchpin of defense. The gold standard for the entire socialist bloc, and indeed the world, was and remains the Soviet PK/PKM, the Kalashnikov machine gun, the creation of the genius Mikhail Timofeyevich. A simple, unkillable, crowbar-like design. The DPRK knew it, loved it, but here the second player comes into the game, Czechoslovakia. Czechoslovakia, although a socialist country, was always the Western showcase of the Warsaw Pact. Its weapons school is the highest culture of production. The most precise mechanics, sometimes even overly complex. Back in the 50s, they created their unique machine gun, the Vz. 52. Its trick is dual feed. It could fire from a box magazine like a light machine gun for mobility, and from a belt like a medium machine gun for sustained fire. An idea that should make an infantry commander's eyes light up. In practice, the VZ-52 system was finicky, but the concept itself stuck in the minds of many, including, as we see, North Korean procurement officers or intelligence agents. And so, in secret design bureaus somewhere in the mountains of the DPRK, a hybrid is born. Imagine the engineers. Spread out before them are the donors, the PKM and the VZ-52. The task: make your own, cheaper, preserving the flexibility of the Czech and some reliability of the Russian. But in an economy where everything is scarce, especially quality steel and precision machine tools, cheaper often means cruder. Part 4. The anatomy of a chimera, genius or crutch. Let's take this wonder apart piece by piece, as a gunsmith would, holding it for the first time. Heart and soul, the gas system and bolt, almost copied one for one from the PKM. This is sensible. Why reinvent the wheel? But even here, economy begins. The PKM's bolt carrier is milled, of complex shape, to reduce weight. The Type 73's looks like a piece of metal roughly planed with an axe. Heavy, simple, cheaper to produce? Absolutely. But such a carrier hits with greater inertia, increasing wear and recoil. Brain and Achilles heel. The feed system. Here's the zest. The magazine port is offset to the left. It looks strange, crooked. Why? It's all because of our cartridge, the legendary 7.62 by 54mm Mosin round with a rim. This rim is a headache for gunsmiths. Western rimless cartridges can simply be pushed forward from the belt into the chamber. Ours need to be pulled backwards out of the belt first and then fed forward. The PKM handled this brilliantly. The Koreans, to use both a magazine and a belt with the same feed mechanism, did something clever. From both the magazine and the belt, the cartridge is now extracted by the same claw, the extractor, moving backwards. The magazine has a special cutout at the rear for this. Sounds smart? On paper, yes. In reality, it's a labyrinth where any speck of dust, any understamped cartridge, any wear of 1 micron leads to a jam. And in combat, imagine you're firing, need to change position, yank out the magazine, insert a belt, and the weapon falls silent. The reason is somewhere in there, inside, that claw got stuck. The extractor, a symbol of the approach. In the PKM, the cartridge grabber is part of the bolt carrier itself, a monolith. Expensive to manufacture, but eternal and reliable. In the Type 73, the extractor is a separate, removable little part. Cheaper, but it's a catastrophe. Now we have 2 different parts, possibly made from different steels with different heat treatments. A harder extractor will slowly but surely wear down its seat in the softer carrier. Play jam failure. And an extra part in the kit that can be lost during cleaning. The barrel and the gimmick, the grenade launcher. Now here is a most curious move. You can screw onto the barrel not only a flash hider but also a special muzzle device for firing rifle grenades. Yes, you can throw grenades from a machine gun like from a rifle. This requires a blank cartridge. The idea is genius in theory. 1 soldier, both fire support and an anti-tank threat. In practice, imagine the weight of the machine gun, 10.6 kilograms empty. The stock against your shoulder, the recoil of a blank shot, and where will that grenade fly? Accuracy is, to put it mildly, conditional. But the fact remains, such a muzzle device exists. A sort of roly-poly of North Korean thinking. Part 5, Combat Path, from the sands of the Middle East to the trenches of Ukraine. The Type 73 was never a star. It was produced, used to arm their massive army, but they quickly realized something went wrong. In the 80s, it gave way to the Type 82, already almost a complete copy of the PKM. And what to do with the thousands of barrels already produced? Correct, export. And here its true, shadowy life begins. Iran-Iraq, the 80s. North Korea is one of the main arms suppliers to Iran in this bloody meat grinder. The Type 73 arrives in the Middle East. In the hot, dusty climate, its shortcomings blossomed luxuriantly. Sand plus complex feed mechanism equals constant jams. Soldiers praised it for the idea but cursed it in real combat. Lebanon, Yemen, Syria, the machine gun wandered through Middle Eastern conflicts, ending up with Hezbollah, the Houthis, various Syrian factions. It became a weapon of last resort when there is nothing new and good, but you need to shoot something. It was recognized by its characteristic silhouette and infrequent long bursts. And now Ukraine. 2023-2024. This is the culmination of its wanderings. How did it get here? The Ghost's logistics chain, DPRK Iran, warehouse remnants, Russia, as part of military aid, the front, or another path, DPRK Syria Russia. Photos and videos confirm. The Type 73 is here. It is used mainly by Russian units, often irregular or secondary. More rarely by Ukrainians as a trophy out of desperation. Why? Because the king of this war is the PKM machine gun and its modernizations. But when the king is absent, the pawns go into battle. The Type 73 is just such a pawn. It is placed on fortified positions where one can fire slowly with a belt, minimizing the risk of its finicky dual-feed system. This is a weapon not for maneuver, but for desperation. Its appearance on the front is like a black mark. A mark that the stocks of classic, reliable weapons are dwindling and museum, tribute exotic weapons are being put into use. It has become a symbol of attrition, a sign of a long and exhausting war of attrition. Part 6. The Philosophy of Failure. What does the Type 73 tell us? So what was it? A failure? Not entirely. It was a typical product of its environment. An attempt to jump above one's head under conditions of severe constraints. DPRK engineers took two complex systems and tried to crossbreed them, simplifying them for their production. They were solving an equation with many unknowns. Cheapness, simplicity of manufacture, versatility. And they lost on the main parameter, reliability. The Type 73 is a monument to the Cold War era, when ideology forced the invention of one's own bicycles. A monument to engineering ingenuity shackled by economic constraints. A monument to how a weapon begins to live its own life, wandering the world and ending up where its creators never thought it would be. It did not become great. It did not change the course of wars, but it survived. It made it from the snowy Korean mountains to the hot sands of Syria and the wet trenches of Ukraine. It is material evidence of the globalization of conflict, and its darkest side at that. This is not just a piece of metal. This is history cast in steel. A history of compromises that are not forgiven in battle. That's the story. The story of a Frankenstein machine gun that wanted to be everything and became a weapon of last chance. Its birth, its wanderings, its sad appearance before our eyes. It's a whole series about the strength, weakness, and stubbornness of human thought. And what do you think? Have you ever come across mentions of this machine gun? Maybe you have your own thoughts on how engineering ambitions clash with harsh reality. Be sure to write in the comments. Let's discuss. And remember, history is written not only in books but also in footage from the front, where such curiosities as the Type 73 sometimes appear in the frame. And of course, if you've read to the end, you are a true connoisseur of deep analysis. Don't lose us. Subscribe to the channel, like, and share. Your support is important to us so we can continue to dig just as deep and find such pearls of military history for you. Until next time in the world of steel, gunpowder, and incredible engineering mysteries.